Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced, developer advocate here at Dremio. In this video, I wanted to do, continuing on with our hands-on Iceberg video series, what I want to do is actually ingest those same CSV files from Dremio into Iceberg. So that way you can see that, hey, whether you're using Spark or Dremio, you can take those CSV files or JSON data and move it into Iceberg pretty easily. Okay, there's two ways you can do this in Dremio. We could actually upload the file directly from Dremio. So we can click here and we can actually upload a file. And we'll just upload that file exactly. So let me go find it. Should be right in here. Yep. And then I'm going to upload this CSV file. Okay. And it's like comma. I want to say Linux. I want to make sure it extracts the fields names and just make sure like the preview output is what you expect. Because again, be careful because the line, like the new line delimiter, can be different depending on where the file was created, whether it was created on a Linux machine or a Windows machine. So again, you just want to make sure you choose the right settings, extract field names, and just make sure that this output looks like kind of like what you expect. Okay, so I hit save. Okay, and right now this is just the CSV file, and I can query that CSV file just fine in Dremio. That's the cool thing. Dremio doesn't just limit you to Iceberg tables. You can connect databases, data warehouses. So again, if we go back to like sources here, you can see like you can connect all sorts of different object storages, databases, okay, data warehouses like Snowflake, Amazon Redshift. You have all sorts of different sources where you can connect data, MongoDB, MySQL, along with just being able to upload files like like CSV. So now I can go query this, okay, and I can query that CSV file, but again, CSVs aren't going to be necessarily as performant as Parquet files, but again, not a huge file, so it was pretty quick. And I can see all the data there. Okay, but let's say I wanted to turn this into an Iceberg table. Okay, so what I can do is I can just do a create table as statement from here in Dremio. So create table. We'll say Nessie dot from CSV 1. Okay, as. Okay, and then that should be it. Okay. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to run this query and then take the result of that query and create a new Iceberg table in our Nessie catalog. So I'll run that. Okay, so it's going to run that job. Okay, and it looks like it did it. Okay, I didn't get any errors back. So let me go take a look at Nessie, see if I see the table. Don't see it right away. So let me just do this. Select. Sometimes what happens is the metadata doesn't, that Dremio has doesn't update right away, so you don't see the there. But if you query it, it is there. It's in the catalog. At the end of the day, the catalog is the source of truth. So if I go Nessie dot from CSV1, Nessie from CSV1, wonderful. And again, I'm going to just change this to if not exist, so that way it doesn't error trying to create a table that may already exist. Okay, Nessie from CSV1. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so it's running the create table statement. Okay, and we ran into an error on this one. So I said, hey, encountered, select. Oh, yeah, I forgot the word from. That would make a difference. Okay, so let's run that. Okay, it's running the query, and there it is. And see, we have that table does exist. So when we try to query it from our Nessie catalog, the table does exist. Okay, so if I go back over here to the main page, we'll probably see it updated now. Okay, and you see there, you see it there from CSV1. Because again, when you query that table, it's gonna basically Dremio is gonna update its metadata right away. So that way it shows that table listing from there. And again, it periodically is updating that metadata internally. Cool. Okay, now that was one way to do it. So you can see like there, I just quickly, using a ctest statement, just like we did in Spark, turned that CSV file. The only problem with that is like, what if some of these fields, so again, if I query this table, because it came from a CSV, all the fields are strings, which for this table looks like so far, most of that's fine. Okay, but maybe, I want things like this region ID and some of these other fields to be like integers, but see, it's not picking up on that. Okay, in Spark, you could turn on what's called the infer schema property. That's one option. There's another option in Dremio where you can use a command called copy into. Okay, so what you would do is first you would create the Iceberg table, with all the right fields with the right types. Okay, and then what you do is you copy into the CSV into there, and what it'll do is it'll automatically convert the strings into that data type, matching the schema of the Iceberg table you're copying the data into. And the cool thing is that CTAS can only be used to create a table, while copy into can also be used to do ongoing incremental additions to a table in CSV. And again, the syntax for copy into is right here in the Dremio docs. Okay, you can also do it with JSON files currently, and in the future, Parquet file support and whatnot. Okay, but that's all here. So it look kind of like this. Let me see if they actually have any kind of examples at the bottom. Yep. Okay, and so you can see kind of like how that syntax would look like if you wanted to use that particular feature. Okay. But that's kind of how you would ingest CSV files into Dremio. But again, using this, even if I did the CTAS and all these fields are strings, Dremio allows me to easily kind of just do last mile ETL work from here. So if I want to convert this field into an integer, I can just click here to convert data type. Say, hey, I want you to convert this into an integer. I'm going to drop the original field and keep this new integer field. What it's doing, it's not creating a copy. What it's actually doing is logically updating the field. Okay, so you can see here in the function, we're converting it to integer in the query. Okay, and I can just do that for all the fields that I want to update. Okay, again, for a lot of columns, it's a lot less tedious if you do the copy into approach where you have the table. But again, if you're like the analyst who's using a table that does have fields in a certain data type intentionally, and you want to convert them, this gives you a really easy way to kind of make those changes. Okay. So see, like now that's going to be an integer field. And then what I can do is I can save it as a view. Okay. So I can just change it here like in what's called my home space. And just say, hey, and the cool thing is you can save views in Nessie as well. So Nessie not only can it track Iceberg tables, but it can track Iceberg views. Okay. Or just table views in general. Okay. Making it a really nice way to just kind of track all the things. So, but in this case, we'll say, CSV with ints. Okay, if I save it in there, I go back, open up my Nessie catalog, I can see that, hey, there's a view saved in my Nessie catalog. And then again, that catalog is subject to all the same versioning realities as everything else. So I can actually even version my views and do a lot of really cool, there's a lot of really cool possibilities with that. Because what Nessie is actually doing is that it's not necessarily like, it's saving little globs of metadata that are associated with namespaces. Okay, so when the glob of metadata for a view is different than the one for a table. So the view ones just kind of have the SQL, and basically Dremio can just say, oh, okay, that's the SQL statement that belongs to that view, and then run it under that namespace, which is really cool. And again, it makes those views portable. So theoretically, those views, those tables become portable wherever the Nessie catalog is supported. Okay, so that's a really kind of powerful feature you have there. Okay, cool. And I can see, hey, like I got to access all that data. And again, these fields are still treated like integers, the ones that I had converted over. Okay, so Dremio has a lot of really other cool features. Also has integrations with Tableau and Power BI, which usually you can turn on over here. Again, I'm not sure if it's inside the Docker container version. But in the enterprise versions and the cloud versions, you can turn on the BI tool support, and you can literally just click on the Tableau logo and it'll open up Tableau. But otherwise, you can use the REST API to kind of connect pretty much any, it's JDBC, ODBC interface, or it's Aeroflot interface to kind of connect pretty much any external tool you would like. Just imagine it, sky's the limit. But cool things you can do here in the Docker version, you can kind of see what your different nodes are. Again, this is running as a single node. Okay. Theoretically, you could create multiple engines if you had multiple nodes and sit there and say, hey, this route these queries to that engine and route these queries to that engine. So that way, you make sure that your high cost compute is always being used for your high priority queries, while lower cost compute can be used for lower cost queries instead of just having like expensive, everyone using either expensive or not fast enough compute. Okay, you can really kind of route those queries. And there's a lot of other really cool features within Dremio as well. Okay, and then everything can be governed, every little table. So I can click like right here. Usually I'd be able to click here on the settings for this namespace, and I'd be able to like govern who can access it from here. Okay, again, using the Docker version, some of those features are not visible here. But again, if you want to take it to the next level, get a Dremio cloud account by heading over to Dremio.com and trying it out. Cool. And then again, I can organize all those views as well in the spaces. So for example, if I wanted to create like different data products, I could create like a space for each marketing product, or I could even create a Nessie catalog for each marketing product. Either of them they both have the ability to track views. So that way you can create, either a different Nessie catalog to track the views for a particular data product, or create a space to track the views for a particular data product. And then you would give that authority to the users who should have access to it. And they would only have access to the spaces you gave them and the specific views and tables you gave them access to. So basically, it allows you to kind of connect all your data in one place, govern it, and on top of that, everything has a wiki attached to it. So like, for example, if I'm taking a look at right now my Nessie catalog and click right over here, and I can open up this wiki section and I can edit it, okay, to create like wiki entries. Or let's say I click on an individual data set, okay, I can, not from this screen, you would go click on here on the data set, and you're going to want to go to open the details panel. Okay, and then you'll be able to edit the wiki from like here. Okay, so here's like the wiki section right there. Okay, which you can then edit from enterprise and cloud. So hopefully this gives you a little bit more of a tour of Dremio, along with seeing how you can ingest CSV into Dremio, into Iceberg.